My biggest hang-up to taking the label of homemaker was that I do work. In fact, I own my own business. It may not look like a Fortune 500 company, but it has been a means of extra income for years. Does being a homemaker mean that we have to give up all income-producing activity? Does it mean that all creative, personal goals and desires just disappear and you give up all to serve our home? I would argue that it allows the opposite. Being made in the image of Yahweh, the original homemaker and creator, being homemakers opens the opportunity to let our creativity shine by allowing the freedom to breathe, think, and be inspired. Being the manager of our home is an important role, but the key responsibility we have is managing our time wisely. While we may all be in different seasons of life, we all have the same hours in a day to glorify Yah in all that we do. Colossians 3:12-17 says, "Put on then, as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other. As the Lord has forgiven you, so you must also forgive. And above all, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you are called in one body, and be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, with thankfulness in your hearts to God. And whatever you do, in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him." Yahweh is far more concerned with our heart posture and what we do to glorify him than what we actually choose to do. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans." Yah has given each of us different gifts and callings, but he is the equipper, and he equips us with all that we need to accomplish it. He creates us as unique, multifaceted people. We might be called to only one thing during a season, like loving and caring for a new baby, because that is a season of little sleep. Or he may call us to multiple roles at the same time. Wife, mother, homemaker, business owner. I have been a freelance filmmaker and editor for over 14 years now. And I have been fine with taking jobs here and there just as a means to keep up my skills, maybe support our family a little bit with some extra income, and really not have it be full-time hours. However, God has always used those times to provide for us financially in times of hardship or things that all of a sudden we had something to pay for, and the next thing you know, I get a job that pays for that necessity for our family right away. And so God always uses those gifts. He's always using our work. Recently, he's been opening up the work that I do as my kids are getting older and allowing me to really start focusing on the production side and editing side of my business. And so to be able to get some consistent work and have that be not only really creatively for me, really fulfilling, but also provide for us financially. You know, not too long ago, we found out that our foundation needs a pretty serious and expensive repair. And the fact is my husband works so incredibly hard for our family. There's only so many hours in the day for him to be able to work to bring home money for our family. And so really, I feel like God has given me that energy and pursuit and the timing to then say, okay, well, I need to focus on creating a growth in my business in order to pay for that expenditure. The fact that it is consistent and I'm growing slowly, I'm just following Yah wherever he takes this business. And I had a conversation with a client the other day that said, if the board says no to this proposal, like, please don't be offended, please work with us in the future. And I was like, no, if God allows this opportunity to happen, then it is in his timing. And I don't want to be outside of his timing. And so the fact that I was able to be okay with not having a certain project come across my desk was really freeing for me to be able to give that to God and to hold that loosely. So if I do get that opportunity, then I can be joyful about it and I can work towards it. But if it's not, then praise Yahweh for protecting me from taking a job that was not in His timing. And so just coming in it with that heart attitude and not holding things so tightly is really freeing for us homemakers who also work, and making sure that we are not placing those things ahead of our home, ahead of our husband, ahead of our relationship with God specifically, and our children, taking care of our children. We need to be able to put those things first before we really can focus on that work, that extra things that God has placed into our life. And so it's important to put in those systems to allow that to happen. If you're working 9 to 5, but you're focusing on your family and on your relationship with God at home, it's all about the heart. It all is all about the heart, and it's not about whether we're working in the home, out of the home. It's just making sure that our heart is in the right place. We're not going after just getting for the money, because ultimately that's going to fail you. And if you are doing it for the glory of Yahweh, then God will give you those desires of your heart. 1 Corinthians 12 is a perfect chapter to study on this. Verse 4 through 7 says, "Now there are a variety of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are varieties of service, but the same Lord. And there are varieties of activities, but it is the same God who empowers them all in everyone. To each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good." Yah empowers us to do what He has called us to do in each season of life. The most important thing to note is to bring glory and honor to Yah and keep it loosely in our hands. The moment our heart goes from following Yah to pride, greed, or jealousy of others, we've made our work or our creative desires an idol. We need to always pursue God being enough for us first, and the rest are added by God Himself. If we are placing our priorities properly in how we go about our day, we will have space to explore new hobbies, work, and desires. There is time for our relationship with Yahweh, our husbands, our children, homemaking, and other endeavors when we place them in that order. Any other order, and we will be trying to do what we want from a selfish heart, which is the exact thing we want to avoid. This may be easier said than done, but is a great opportunity to grow in the fruit of self-control and patience. Sometimes I feel like if I don't accomplish my goals right now, they will never be. And that's a lie. Yahweh is always on time. And if we're to place our trust in Him, care for our family, those desires, our work or creative pursuits, will get done in Yah's right time. Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." So delight in Him. He is a loving and doting Father who wants to give us what we desire. But they have to be in line with His will, and if our heart starts shifting, then we need to start reevaluating our priorities. So my prayer is that you continue in your homemaking journey and that you continue to honor Him with everything that you do, no matter what it is. In the next What is Homemaking series, I'm gonna kind of delve deeper into what homemaking and working look like on a more practical level, as well as by using biblical examples. So I hope you'll join me in that next video. Shalom, shalom, friends.